United States of America is the most powerful nation in the world. Yet, the way in which we treat many of our citizens is a shameful display of our power.
For hundreds of years, African Americans and their allies stood up and fought back against racism, segregation, and bigotry.
We have been woke from the dream, the beautiful dream, of having our first black president, only to find ourselves entering into a new era of mass incarceration and police brutality that we call the new Jim Crow.
People like Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, and my father, Eric Garner, and the list goes on and on.
This campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community.
Todos sabemos que el sistema no está funcionando en este país. No está funcionando para ninguno de nosotros.
And the money that's made from the rigged economy is paying for the political campaigns. And they say they're gonna fix things. Wake up, America. How are they going to fix a broken system when they are profiting from a broken system?
What this campaign is about is telling Wall Street and the billionaire class they cannot, they will not have it all. We want a government that represents all of us, not wealthy campaign contributors.
Since the recession of 2008, we have seen the erosion of the black middle class get worse. We've not just lost our jobs, but we've lost the homes that we worked so hard to build. So whether it's the fight for $15 an hour or for affordable housing, the policies that the next president enacts will either set us on a course towards poverty or prosperity.
People should not have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to get by, and then after all of that, 58% of all new income goes to the top 1%. That's wrong.
We live in the greatest country in the world, and yet so many of our citizens can't get an education. And if they do, they end up paying their student loans for the rest of their lives. Education is a right, not a privilege.
Instead of schools, they build prisons for profits and fill them to the brim with more people than any other society in history. We must disrupt the school-to-prison pipeline, reform our criminal justice system. The time is now.
I'm from Scotland, right? It's not a particularly rich country. It's not nearly as wealthy as the United States of America, for example. Yet, everyone has access to free education and healthcare. Why do we have that in America?
We should not be punishing people for getting an education. And instead of giving tax breaks to billionaires or fighting wars we should not be fighting, we're going to be investing in housing and education and healthcare.
This election is not a popularity contest. It's not about who you like or who you want to go have a beer with. It's about our future. It's about our children.
What this campaign is about is creating a political revolution.
From Strong Island to Staten Island, Queens to the Boogie Down, BK, Manhattan. We need you, New Yorkers. Don't be just liking this online. You got to get in line. It's time to vote, show up, represent.
At this crucial moment in American history, we need my brother Bernie because he's a man of integrity, honesty, dignity, and courage. And he's got a vision that focuses on everyday people.
Real change takes place when millions of people look around them and they say, you know what? The status quo is unacceptable.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union,
establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense,
promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity.
Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Hey, Bernie from Brooklyn, talk to the people.
To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people.
I'm Bernie Sanders, and I approve this message.
Well, good. What is it? evening for some of you, afternoon for me, early afternoon. We have a Bernie Sanders rally happening coming up here. And you probably hear the construction going on. I forgot to close my window. It's really hot here in Portland. Unseasonably hot. It shouldn't be this hot. I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but I think we're going to hit 89 degrees tomorrow, mid-April in Oregon. That's wrong. That's for Portland, Oregon. That's way wrong. That's messed up. Wow, more than 200 of you joining us right now. Just trying to get the audio tweaked a little bit here. Give me 1 second. And we'll be going with a News Universe channel. I've got News Universe and Bernie Sanders speeches and events lined up here, waiting for this to kick in. This should be a fun event. We've got some music, some special guests, and we're waiting for that to kick in. Yep. C-SPAN, by the way, guys. So here's the way. This is one of those concert events. So we've got like an hour of music and fun and speakers, and then kick into Bernie Sanders. C-SPAN, of course, is covering this, but they're not going to cover the fun. They're just going to cover the speeches. So C-SPAN's not starting their event till 5. I'm hoping that News Universe and or Bernie Sanders speeches and events has found or is scraping from somebody that is covering the full event, which is why we started now, because this is when it's supposed to start. If neither one of these guys kicks in, or if we can't find something together, then I don't know what we'll do. We'll kick off and do something else. I know I have a couple other long video footages we could run, or maybe we just come back in a little bit. It's our network. We can do what we want, right? And it's a Sunday. We're relaxed. We're just kicking it here. If you caught it earlier, Democracy Awakening, that's happening. Scott was there with the solo, was recording that. That's still going, being broadcast now, I believe, through Free Speech TV. Go to Free Speech TV. I'm sure you can find it on their website. I'm sure you can find it on live stream. Looking at what you guys are saying here, I know I've got chat mods. Why are we doing this, by the way? Let's talk about that. Why the hell are we doing this when there's other YouTube channels that are covering this, and we work together with them in many ways. We like the conversation we have here. We do what's called engagement broadcasting. Turn that on right now. Show you guys some of the conversation you are having. This is your conversation. This is what you have to say, and we value that. It's the most important part of a democracy is what you have to say about it. And so this is our way of having a conversation with you around the world. You can log into YouTube, chat with us there. You can chat with us on Twitter. I'll be tracking hashtags Take New York by Phone, probably Democracy Awakening, and something else if it pops up that's trending. But we track hashtags in Twitter, and I'll show those on the screen. We also have comment mods and moderators that are the best on the net. And that's why we have the best conversation on the net. And we will take your comments, questions, keep the trolls at bay, make sure the conversation stays about what's important, stays on topic, and friendly. Not, honest. Let's put it that way. Stays honest. That's what we're looking for. It's okay to say what you want. Oh, thanks, Angel. I'm glad you think I'm very cool for a 46-year-old fart who's trying to help the younger generation do what needs to be done. Because my generation and older is having some problems with that. But that's all right. It's not everybody. It's just those that don't recognize the internet as where truth lives, right? That's really what the big deal is. That opening was Spike Lee's Wake Up, America. And we heard a lot of that from Democracy Awakening earlier today. The message this weekend, everybody, if you're not doing it right now, if you can't do it right now, later today, tomorrow, whenever, we need you to phone bank for New York. Please, please, please phone bank. We need to make tons and tons of calls. We have to take New York. Now, the polls are saying Bernie's like 10 points behind here and there. There was another poll that came out said he was actually winning in upstate New York, I believe. Polls are all over the place. They're irrelevant. They're designed right now by the establishment to make us feel depressed and worried and scared about the status of things. But the truth is we're winning. We're kicking ass. We know that the real narrative, the narrative that we are hearing on the internet, the narrative we see, the narrative we write, because we are the narrative. We know the truth. So ignore the polls. Ignore what Wolf Blitzer has to say on any given day because he's just a bearded fart, right? Wolf is just... We don't know what he's doing there. He's got a crush on Hillary, and it really doesn't matter what reality is. Guys like Wolf and other establishment politicians and media pundits, they are going to say what it takes to keep their paychecks. Right? That's what we know is the case. So thank you for joining us. What a great conversation you guys are already having. Let's see. We've got some time to kill here, apparently, because nothing started yet. It's just now 1 o'clock on the nose. So let's cover some of the old news. I say old because we talked about it this morning, but it's really not old. Yeah, we won't run that. Hang on. I had some good stuff here. This is, this is important. I want to run this. It's hang on. Give me 1 second. This is George Clooney on Meet the Press, talking with our good friend Chuck. Listen to what Clooney has to say. This is, I don't know, it blows my mind that he can so calmly say this and do what he did. Just listen.
Let me start with dinner you co-hosted on Friday night. Big fundraiser I know that you have planned for later tonight. Do you look at how much is being raised? And I think the co-host of the Friday night dinner, $353,000 a couple to be a co-chair. Do you look at it yourself and think that's an obscene amount of money?
Yes, I think it's an obscene amount of money. I think that, we had some protesters last night when we pulled up in San Francisco, and they're right to protest. They're absolutely right. It is an obscene amount of money. The Sanders campaign, when they talk about it, is absolutely right. It's ridiculous that we should have this kind of money in politics. I agree completely.
Okay. Yeah. Don't move on to your next piece there, Chuck. So, what this says, which is really, so first of all, yesterday we were running the story that Clooney's just an asshole. Why the hell would you back Hillary Clinton? Yay, you can toss out that kind of money. Today he's a hypocrite. You acknowledge that money in politics is an issue, is a problem, and you put almost $500,000 into politics yourself. I mean, come on, George. Cognitive dissonance, as I spoke about earlier. I mean, walk the talk. If you don't think there should be tons of fucking money in politics, please keep your money out of politics because you have tons of fucking money. That's, I mean, geez. Yeah, Lizzie D. Like, I know. You're all like saying the same thing. It's like, yes, Prospect Park is starting soon. Ectogamut. I'm waiting for it to start. I seriously, here, we can show you the screens. Hang on. Here's, and we get you guys the links to this stuff. So this is Bernie Sanders speeches and events, hasn't started yet. Here's News Universe channel, hasn't started yet. So I don't know where these guys. Oh, there we go. Look at that. News Uni just kicked in. Let's see what we got for audio here. Is this? Yeah.
We do not agree.
Well, that was good timing.
And I want the next
Perfect.
president to be a Democrat, but I do not want a Democratic president who supports reckless wars, racist criminal justice laws, and destructive trade policies. I do not want a Democratic president who pals around with Wall Street and the Walmart family. I do not want a Democratic president who relies on a broken election financing system to gazillionaire her way into the White House. And then promises to change the broken system when she's at the top of it. I want a presidential candidate who changes the broken system now! Folks, Bernie Sanders is making the road by walking it. Bernie Sanders is making the road by walking it. He wants to transform America for the better as president, and his campaign is already transforming politics for the better. And that is change we can believe in. So listen, folks, it's really wonderful you're all here. Don't forget, it's not enough showing up. You have to also hit the streets. This doesn't happen unless you help turn out more people to vote in New York on Tuesday. Please go to map.berniesanders.com and sign up to help, sign up for events, sign up to volunteer. There are folks all around here with clipboards. Talk to them. There are offices on Flatbush and Gowanus and around the city. Sign up, volunteer, get on the streets, do your part. This is already a great nation. But we know it has never been perfect, especially for women and people of color and queer folks and indigenous communities and the poor. And we as progressives have always worked to make this country better, yet been told when it comes to our political candidates, we can't do better than accommodationist centrism. But we can do better! We can have political candidates and a political system that reflects our values and the values of the majority of this country. We can vote our aspirations and not just our fears. And we can transform this country for all of us for the better. We can elect Bernie Sanders, the next president of the United States of America. Thank you. And now, it is my great pleasure to introduce the United States Congresswoman from Hawaii, Tulsi Gabbard.
Aloha, New York! Such a beautiful, beautiful day to be out here with such a beautiful crowd. We have a lot of New York veterans in the house. I want to give a shout out to our brothers and sisters who've worn the cloth of our country. Let's thank them for their service and sacrifice. No one appreciates peace more than those who've experienced and seen war firsthand. As a soldier and a war veteran, I know the real cost of war. During my first deployment, I was in Iraq, where I served in a medical unit where every single day that cost stared me back in the face. As veterans, we know how important it is to have a commander-in-chief who has the military mindset and sound judgment to know when it may be necessary to use military power to go after those like ISIS and Al-Qaeda who threaten the American people. But just as importantly, when not to use that power. And that's why I've endorsed Bernie Sanders to be our next commander-in-chief, because I'm confident that he has the intelligence, he has the foresight, he has the good judgment to make sound decisions when it comes to that most important question of war or peace. So we have a clear choice before us. And New York, this is an important one that you'll be voting on soon. We have a clear choice between Bernie Sanders or, on the other hand, Secretary Clinton, who's shown time and again what kind of judgment she has. Through her vote for the Iraq War, leading the military overthrow of Gaddafi in Libya, which has resulted in a failed nation, chaos, and tremendous loss of life, as well as her promise to escalate the illegal, counterproductive war to overthrow yet another government in Syria. These are decisions that have cost trillions of dollars and countless of lives. These are decisions that have undermined our national security, strengthening groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda, whose terrorist actions continue around the world. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, he has made it clear. He has made it clear that he will end these unnecessary interventionist wars and instead use our resources to rebuild our own country, our own communities, right here at home. We can't afford to do both. So this is the choice before us, New York, and in your hands, through your vote, you have incredible power. Incredible power to bring about a new kind of leadership for our nation and our future. It's an awesome thing. The stakes are very high. Now is the time to act. Stand with me, choose Bernie Sanders to be our next president and Commander-in-Chief. Thank you for your support for Senator Sanders. Aloha!
All right. Well, that gives us a few minutes. Oh, no, here comes the next guy. No time. Nicely timed.
Wait to get on the road again. The life I love is making music with my friends. I can't wait to get on the road again.
I'm not sure why we've got Willie going.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jumaane Williams.
What's up, Brooklyn? What's up, Prospect Park? My name is Jumaane Williams, and I'm a New York City Council member here in Brooklyn. So a couple of days ago, I was reading the Daily News as they endorsed another candidate. And what they said about Bernie was, he's at war with reality. And I thought to myself, you're goddamn right. Because too many people's reality in this borough and in this city and in this nation needs to be at war with. Too many people's reality is struggle. And maybe if you're not at war with reality, you're not focused enough. So being an elected official, I understand the need sometimes to make a deal, the need and art of politics. But sometimes it's okay to shoot for the political revolutionary moonshot. In fact, the only good things that have come in this country have come because of political revolutionary moonshots. From an 8-hour workday to no child labor, from LGBT rights to women's suffrage, from the civil rights movement to freeing the slaves were all revolutionary moonshots. In fact, the birth of this nation is from a revolutionary moonshot. So all we're asking is, the people who say that it cannot be done, please move out of the way of the people who are doing it. And a few years from now, when our children ask, what did you do and what were you doing when the birth of this revolutionary moonshot came? I'm here today to say that we want to look them in the eye with pride and say, we felt the burn, baby. Are any occupiers in the house? Occupy Wall Street. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. We want. We believe in the revolutionary moonshot. My name is Jumaane Williams, council member. I'm proud today to endorse the next president of the United States of America, Senator Bernie Sanders. We call him Bernie. Revolutionary moonshot, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, give a big New York welcome, Mr. Danny Devito!
Guys and girls, my sisters and brothers,
I'm so happy to be here. And you know why we're here? Because we feel the burn. I just hugged the man who shook the hand of the Pope. I am so happy to be here today to introduce to you the man who's beholden to no one except the people. We are going to go out and vote and put this man on Pennsylvania Avenue. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for a hometown boy. Brooklyn, New York. I want to hear it. Bernie. 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 He's coming, baby. Bernie. Here he comes. Here he comes. Bernie. Ladies and gentlemen, the next president of the States. Our Obi-Wan. Bernie, 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 Bernie. Where's the love that is not forsaken me? Where's the word that set my hands, my soul free? Where's the spirit that rain over me? Where's the promise from sea to shining sea? Where's the promise from sea to shining sea? Wherever this flag is flown, wherever this flag is flown, wherever this flag is flown, we take care of everything. We take care of
In case you haven't noticed, there are a lot of people here this afternoon. Thank you all very much. I want to thank Tanya Stevens and Eric Sermon and Grizzly Bear, Cesar Vargas, Justin Long, Sally Cohn, Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, Assemblyman Joanie Williams, and one of the great actors in America, Danny Devito. Welcome to the political revolution. You know, when I was a kid growing up in Flatbush, our parents would take us to Prospect Park. They still have the seals and the elephants? All right. But I was never here speaking to 20,000 people, so thank you all very much for being here. This is a campaign that is on the move. This is a campaign that a year ago was considered a fringe candidacy 70 points behind Secretary Clinton. Well, they don't consider us fringe anymore. This is a campaign that has won 8 out of the last 9 caucuses and primaries. And with your help on Tuesday, we're going to win right here in New York State. This is a campaign which will defeat Donald Trump. Mr. Trump will not become president of the United States. That's for sure. This is a campaign that is bringing millions of people into the political process. Working people and young people who are sick and tired of establishment politics and establishment economics. We want a government which represents all of us, not just the 1%. This is a movement of people who are prepared to think big, not small. People who want to elect not just a new president, but to transform America. And this is a movement where people understand why it is that we are not addressing the real issues facing our country, and that is we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Here is a simple truth which everybody understands, whether you're progressive or conservative, and that is you cannot have a super PAC raise many millions of dollars from Wall Street or special interest and then tell the American people with a straight face that you're going to stand up to the big money interest. Not true. Let me say a few words about some of the differences between Secretary Clinton and myself. When we began this campaign, we had to make a very important decision. And that decision was, should we do like every other campaign, Democrat and Republican, and establish a super PAC? We said no. We do not represent the interest of Wall Street or the billionaire class or corporate America. We don't want their money. We're going to do it a different way. And what we said was so revolutionary and simple. What we said to the American people, to the middle class and working families, if you want a candidate who will stand with you, please stand with us. And in the last year, we have received 7 million individual campaign contributions. That is more campaign contributions than any candidate in the history of the United States of America. Anybody here know what the average contribution is? That's right. $27. And that is what the political revolution is about. And that is that we're going to win this thing without being dependent on Wall Street or the big money interests. Secretary Clinton has chosen to raise her money a different way. She has not just one, but a number of super PACs. Last reporting period, her super PAC listed $25 million from special interest, $15 million from Wall Street alone. But it is not just super PACs giving her substantial sums of money. It is the fact that today she is reported, as you all know, to give speeches before Wall Street for $225,000 a speech. Now, if you give a speech for $225,000, must be a pretty damn good speech. Must be a brilliant and insightful speech analyzing all of the world's problems. Must be a speech written in Shakespearean prose. And that is why I believe that Secretary Clinton should share that speech with all of us. But it is not just how we raise our money, it is the major foreign policy issue of our time where we disagree. In 2002, Secretary Clinton, who was then in the Senate, and I, who was in the House, we heard the same evidence from George Bush and Dick Cheney about whether or not we should go to war in Iraq. I listened very, very carefully. I didn't believe what they were saying. I voted against that war. Then Senator Clinton heard the same evidence I did. She voted for that disastrous war. The worst foreign policy blunder in the modern history of America. But it was not just, as Congresswoman Gabbard often reminds us, it wasn't just Iraq. She was active as Secretary of State in overthrowing the government of Libya without thinking about what happens the day after. And she wants a no-fly zone in Syria, which in my view will get us sucked into a never-ending war in that area, something that I vigorously oppose. Secretary Clinton and I disagree on trade policy. She supported virtually every disastrous trade agreement, from NAFTA to permanent normal trade relations to China, trade agreements that have cost us millions of decent paying jobs as corporations shut down here, throw American workers out on the street, and move to China and other low-wage countries. I not only opposed all of these trade agreements, I helped lead the opposition to all of them. And if elected president, we are going to transform our trade policy. Corporate America will start investing in this country, not just in China. Secretary Clinton and I disagree on minimum wage policy. The federal minimum wage of $7.25 an hour is a starvation wage. She believes we should raise the minimum wage to $12 an hour. Not bad, but not good enough. We need to raise the minimum wage $15 an hour. And I am proud of the fast food workers who went out on strike, who had the guts, and I've been on the picket line with them, to have the guts to tell the American people, if you work 40 hours a week, you should not be living in poverty. Thank you, fast food workers. Secretary Clinton and I disagree on a major environmental issue. One of the great environmental crises of our time is the need to preserve clean water. We're not going to do that with fracking. We've got to get rid of fracking. The people of our country and the people of this world need to know that there will be clean drinking water for them and their kids in the years to come. We have got to stand up to the fossil fuel industry and say fracking is eliminated all across this country. And related, I'm a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment. And anyone who comes before you and tells you that climate change is not real, is not caused by human activity, is not already causing massive problems in our country and around the world, that person is lying to you. We have got to understand that leaving this planet healthy and habitable for our children and our grandchildren is a moral issue. And we have got to tell the fossil fuel industry that their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet. And we have got to listen to the scientific community who tells us we have got to be bold and aggressive now in transforming our energy system. I am proud to let you know that I have introduced the most comprehensive climate change legislation in the history of the United States Senate. And that legislation includes a tax on carbon. Secretary Clinton does not support a tax on carbon. I am right, she is wrong on this important issue. Everybody here knows that as a result of the greed and the recklessness and the illegal behavior of Wall Street, this country was plunged into the worst economic downturn since the 1930s. Millions of people lost their homes, they lost their jobs, they lost their life savings. The United States Congress, against my vote, voted to bail out Wall Street. And they bailed out Wall Street because the major banks were considered too big to fail. Well, it turns out that 3 out of the 4 largest banks today are bigger than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail. Turns out that 5 banks recently could not even produce documents as to a living will and how in a financial emergency they would break themselves up. I believe when you have a handful of financial institutions in which the top 6 have assets equivalent to 58% of the GDP of this country, when they issue 2/3 of the credit cards and 1/3 of the mortgages, the time is now to break them up. All of you know that last week Goldman Sachs formalized a settlement with the United States government for $5 billion. Other banks reached even larger settlements. And the reason these guys are paying these fines is because, as everybody knows, they were producing worthless packages of subprime mortgage loans, which helped precipitate the great financial crisis of 2008, 2009. What I find amazing is that some kid today in Brooklyn is going to get arrested for possession of marijuana. That kid will have a criminal record for the rest of his life. But you can be an executive on Wall Street and your illegal actions can impact the lives of millions of people, but you get no criminal record, not you. You get an increase in your compensation. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to bring justice back to a criminal justice system. Secretary Clinton and I disagree on Social Security. Here's the fact. Today in New York City, in Vermont, and all over this country, millions of people are struggling to keep their heads above water on $11,000, $12,000 a year Social Security. Disabled veterans, people with disabilities, not able to buy the medicine they need, not able to keep their homes warm in the winter, not able to buy the food they need. Now, my Republican colleagues in the Senate, they've got a brilliant idea. They think the response to that crisis is to cut Social Security. Well, I've got bad news for them. We are not going to cut Social Security. We're going to expand Social Security benefits. And I have outlined a very specific way to do that. Right now, somebody makes $5 million a year, somebody makes $118,000. They're both contributing the same amount into the Social Security Trust Fund. Lift that cap, start at $250,000. We can expand benefits significantly for seniors getting less than $16,000. And extend the life of Social Security for 58 years. I have challenged Secretary Clinton and challenged her and challenged her. She still refuses to come on board and lift the cap, demand the wealthy start paying their fair share into the system, and expand Social Security benefits for the elderly and disabled vets. The reason that our campaign is doing so well is that we're doing something really radical in contemporary American politics. We are telling the truth. And here is the truth. When a handful of billionaires like the Koch brothers and a few others are able to put more money into the political process in order to elect candidates who will represent the interest of the wealthy and the powerful, when the Koch brothers and a few others can spend more money in a campaign than either the Democratic or Republican Party, that is not democracy, that is oligarchy. And we will not accept that. And we will not accept Republican governors trying to suppress the vote. Cowardly governors who are afraid of free and open and fair elections. And I say to those governors, if you're too afraid of a fair election, get out of politics, get another job. This campaign is going to win because we are talking about a rigged economy. Brothers and sisters, the United States is not supposed to be about an economy in which the top 0.1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. It is not about an economy where the 20 wealthiest people own more wealth than the bottom 150 million of people. It is not about an economy where one family, the Waltons of Walmart, own more wealth than the bottom 40% of the American people. Together, we are going to create an economy that works for working people, that works for the elderly, the children, the sick, and the poor. All of us, not just the 1%. And this campaign is gaining momentum because we understand that our criminal justice system is broken. It is an international disgrace that we have more people in jail than any other country on earth. We are spending $80 billion a year to lock up 2.2 million Americans. And together we are going to end that. Right now, in this country, youth unemployment is off the charts. You have kids between 17 and 20 where if they are white, 33% are unemployed or underemployed, Latino, 36%, African American kids, 51%. And that is why we are going to invest in our young people, in jobs and education. In jobs and education, not jails or incarceration. I I want these kids to be working. I want them to be in school, not hanging out on street corners. We are going to bring about real police department reform from one end of this country to the others. I am tired, and you are tired, of seeing unarmed people being shot and killed by police. Now, I was the mayor of Burlington, Vermont for 8 years, and I worked hard with the police department in my own community, all over my state, and all over this country. And here's the truth. The overwhelming majority of police officers are honest, hardworking, and do a very, very difficult job. But the other truth is that just like any other public official, if a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. We need to demilitarize police departments all over this country. We need to make local police departments reflect the diversity of the communities they represent. We need to create a culture in which lethal force is the last response, not the first response. We need to end private corporate ownership of prisons and detention centers. We need to end the so-called war on drugs. Over the last 30 years, millions of Americans have received police records for possession of marijuana. And lives have been ruined. If you're a kid and you're out looking for a job and your future employer, your prospective employer asks you, have you ever been arrested? Well, yeah, I was. Well, somebody else may get that job. Now, right now, under the Federal Controlled Substance Act, marijuana is listed as a Schedule I drug right next to heroin. I think that is crazy, and that is why I have legislation in and will make happen as president, removing marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substance Act. Legalizing marijuana is a state issue, but it should not be a federal crime. And when we talk about drugs, everybody here understands we have a horrific epidemic of heroin and opiate addiction. People are dying every single day from overdose. We need a radical change in how we treat drug addiction and substance abuse. We must clearly, the sensible approach is understanding these are health-related issues, not criminal issues. And that is why we need a revolution in mental health treatment in this country. People should be able to get the treatment they need when they need it, not 6 months from when they need it. This campaign is going to win because we listen to ordinary people, not just wealthy campaign contributors. A few hours ago, I was in Brownsville, here in Brooklyn. And I visited with some New York City public housing in Brownsville. And what I learned is that in Brownsville, in Brooklyn, all over this city, all over this state, we have a $17 billion backlog in construction needs. We have community centers for kids that are closing down. We have kids who are unemployed and have no hope of getting a job. Unfortunately, they do have hopes and do have success in getting guns. Our job is to give kids jobs, not guns. And that is why together we are going to transform our national priorities. We are going to rebuild inner cities in this country rather than waste trillions on wars we never, ever should have gotten into. And this campaign is listening to our African American brothers and sisters. They want their kids in good, effective public schools, not in schools that are crumbling. They want their families to have access to health care, and they want the environment in their neighborhoods to be clean so that kids are not coming down with asthma. I was in Flint, Michigan a few months ago. What I saw in Flint was literally hard to believe in terms of it occurring here in America in 2016. Children being poisoned by lead in the water. Together, we are going to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, whether it's public housing in Brooklyn or the water systems in Flint, Michigan. And when we do that, we create millions of decent paying jobs. This campaign is listening to our brothers and sisters in the Latino community. There are 11 million undocumented people in this country. Many of them are being exploited because when you have no legal protection, employers can take advantage of you. Many of them are living in fear and living in the shadows. I agree with the Latino community. We need comprehensive immigration reform and a path towards citizenship. And if Congress does not do its job, I will use the executive powers of the presidency to do everything I can. This campaign is listening to people who get almost no hearings at all, and that is the Native American community. We owe the Native American people more than we can ever repay. But from day one, before we became a country, they were lied to and cheated, and treaties that had been negotiated were broken. If I'm elected president, there will be a new relationship with the Native American people. This campaign is listening to women. And women are telling me they are sick and tired of earning 79 cents on the dollar compared to men. They want the whole damn dollar, and they're right. And I know that every man here is going to stand with the women in the fight for pay equity. You know, as we speak, you got Republican candidates running all over this country talking about family values. And let us be clear what they mean by family values. What they mean is that no woman here today or in this state or in this country has the right to control her own body. I disagree. And what they believe as a family value is that our gay brothers and sisters do not have the right to be married. I disagree. Jane and I have been married 27 years. We have 4 kids and 7 beautiful grandchildren. We believe in family values, but those values are a little bit different than Republican values. We believe that it is an international embarrassment that we are the only major country on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave. I have been criticized for saying this, so let me say it again. It is my very strongly held view that health care is a right of all people. And not a privilege. It is my view that there is something wrong when every major country on earth, everyone, the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Holland, Scandinavia, Canada. I live 50 miles away from Canada. All of these countries have managed to provide health care to all people as a right. We are the only ones who have not accomplished that. Now, today, as a result of the Affordable Care Act, we have made some good progress. We have done away with pre-existing conditions. We've added 17 million to the ranks of the insured, and we've done away with discrimination against women for the price they pay for the health care they receive. But despite those gains, 29 million Americans still have no health insurance, and many of you are underinsured with high deductibles and high copayments. And every day, all of us are getting ripped off by the greed of the drug companies who charge us the highest prices in the world. And then on top of all of that, we end up paying far, far more per capita for health care than do the people of any other country. That is why, in my view, we need to move toward a Medicare for all single-payer program. And that program will save the average middle-class family thousands of dollars a year in their health care costs. Brothers and sisters, all of you know that real change never takes place from the top on down. It always takes place from the bottom on up. That is the history of America. That really is the history of America. History of America is that over 100 years ago, when workers were forced to work 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. They had no rights. They could be fired at the whim of the employer. Workers said enough is enough. We will be treated as human beings with respect and dignity. We will form unions and engage in collective bargaining. And millions of workers came forward and in doing so helped create the American middle class. And hundreds of years ago, when slavery was rampant in this country, African Americans and their allies said, we will not accept this abomination. We will not accept segregation. We will not accept racism. We will not accept bigotry. And millions of people came together and said, in America, racism will not be part of what this country is about. 100 years ago, 100 years ago, which from an historical perspective is no time at all. 100 years ago, women in America did not have the right to vote, to get the education they wanted, or do the work they wanted 100 years ago. But women stood up. Women fought back. Women went to jail. Women went on hunger strikes. And women and their male allies said that in America, women will not be second-class citizens. If we were here 10 years ago and somebody jumped up and said, you know, Bernie, I think that gay marriage will be legal in 50 states of this country by 2015, person next to her would have said, you are nuts. But that is exactly what happened, and it happened not because of a decision of a conservative Supreme Court. It happened because millions of people stood up. The gay community, and their straight allies said that in America, people will have the right to love whoever they want, regardless of their gender. That is how change comes about. Right now, all over this country, people are looking at the status quo. They're looking around them and they say, in this great country, how does it happen that we have more wealth and income inequality than any major country on earth? How does it happen that we have a proliferation of millionaires and billionaires and we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country on earth? How does it happen that our infrastructure, our water systems, our wastewater plants, our roads, our bridges, our airports are crumbling in this great country? How does it happen that we are the only country, major country, that doesn't guarantee paid family and medical leave or health care to all? How does it happen that we continue with a corrupt campaign finance system that allows billionaires to buy elections? How does it happen that we have more people in jail than any other country on earth? And all over this country, people are looking around them and they're saying, this is not what the status quo should be. We are going to change the status quo. And people understand the very profound historical lesson, and that is no president, not Bernie Sanders or anyone else, can do it alone. The only way we make real change is when we stand together. If anybody here thinks, oh, we're going to elect Bernie, he'll do it all, you are mistaken. Can't be done. Wall Street, corporate America, the corporate media, the wealthy campaign donors are so powerful. No president alone can do what has to be done. And what has to be done is that millions of people have got to stand up and demand that we have a government that represents all of us, not the 1%. Donald Trump will not be elected President of the United States. He will not be elected President because the American people will not support a candidate who insults Mexicans and Latinos, who insults Muslims and the Islamic people from all over the world, who insults women, who insults veterans, who insults the African American community. Let us not forget that before Trump was a candidate for president, he was one of the leaders of the so-called birther movement, which tried to delegitimize the presidency of the first African American president in history. Donald Trump will not become president because at the end of the day, what the American people understand, that our strength as a people is in our diversity. That we are strong when black and white and Latino and Asian American and Native American, when all of our people come together, and that coming together is always more important and always trumps dividing us up. The American people understand that when we support each other, when I'm there for your family and you are there for my family, that supporting each other always trumps selfishness. And the American people understand, maybe most profoundly, the lesson of every major religion on earth, whether it is Christianity or Judaism or Islam or Buddhism or whatever it may be. And that is that at the end of the day, love trumps hatred. Tuesday, 2 days, there is going to be an enormously important Democratic primary here in New York. What this campaign has taught me is that we win caucuses and primaries when the voter turnout is high. We lose them when the voter turnout is low. Let's have a record-breaking turnout on Tuesday. New York State helped lead this country into the political revolution. Thank you all.
All right, everybody. That was awesome. That was really awesome. Hang on a second. I'm just watching that. Great footage. Great, nice, clear footage coming in there. Thank you, News Universe channel, for finding that wherever you found it. Thank you, everybody who was here. I think we almost had 1,000. Maybe we did have 1,000. I wasn't even able to keep track. I was looking at the comments, going back and forth between all the things going on. There's a breaking news on a poll. Apparently, it's a Reuters poll. If you give me 1 second, I'll get it pulled up here. Give me 1 second. Bernie is looks like he's taking the lead nationally. This is pretty cool stuff. Give me 1 second. Grab this up here. And where'd it go? Here we go. Let's read this article. This is from True Activist, but it links to a Reuters poll. Bernie Sanders likely to take the lead according to new Reuters poll. See? Scroll on down. What does it say here? It says Bernie Sanders fans have reason to celebrate, for a new Reuters poll suggests that the progressive presidential contender is likely to overtake Hillary Clinton in the near future. Well, we've been saying it a while, folks, and here reality is. This is what happens when you work really hard. Good job. Congratulations. Don't stop. But know that we are winning. The survey of 1,680 registered voters, 635 of whom identified as Democrats, was conducted between April 9th and April 13th. So here's another important factor. And I'm not going to go into the rest of this, but understand that this is before the debate. So I bet it's even better now. I bet the numbers are even better, right? Notice that the establishment media, immediately after the debate, pushed out some polls showing just how huge of a lead Hillary had in New York, but that the poll data didn't actually include what people thought after the debate, right? Here's one showing Bernie taking the lead, right? And this also doesn't include Hillary Clinton, or this doesn't include, I just throw out Hillary. This also doesn't include the debate, all right? So whatever lead they think Hillary has is gone. There is no lead in New York for Hillary Clinton. Right? There was one poll that came out and said Bernie was 6 points down. Then there was another one that said he was 1 point down. Nationally now he's 1 point ahead. This is a Reuters poll. Hillary Clinton is no longer winning. Hillary Clinton is not the front runner. She is not leading the Democratic Party race. She can talk about her millions of votes. She can talk about superdelegates all she wants, but she is no longer winning. She is no longer the lead contender. She is no longer the one we want. She never was the one we want, but she can't make these claims anymore, folks. We've done it. Congratulations. Keep working on it, all right? Thank you, guys. I'm glad you were here. Look, the reason I'm wearing this, which when I saw the news, I actually spilled my tea. You can't see it. I would normally have a sweatshirt on, right? And then I would have my sweater on because this is Portland, Oregon, and this is spring. Except right now it's got to be like 75, 80 degrees. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 89 degrees. Right? That's not normal. It's not extreme weather either. It's not a fluke of nature either. This is climate change. This is a big problem. It shouldn't be this warm in Portland, Oregon right now. We didn't have a salmon run. We didn't have a winter. So, yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason. All right, you guys have been awesome. Our comment mods, awesome. Fantastic job. You were really cranking it out. As a matter of fact, I know we got some comments left. Let me go up here and get these going because, yeah, look at that. Yikes. Let's get these running. We are going to, all right, tomorrow, newsroom, normal time, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Between now and then, I want you guys to get on the phone and phone bank to New York. I want you to take New York by phone. We have to. We have to win. I want to win by huge numbers. I want establishment media. I want to see Wolf Blitzer literally shit his pants. News report. I've got to go. I just want to see him not even know what to do. Just freak his shit. I want to see how they spin Bernie Sanders winning New York decisively into something positive for Hillary Clinton, or somehow it's going to be devastating. If you guys work on it, are relentless, do not stop, phone bank for Bernie, take New York by phone this weekend. Tomorrow, Tuesday, is the primary. Tuesday is the big day. Tuesday is the big battle. We make history every day, but Tuesday, we can pretty much put the big nail in the coffin of the establishment campaign. So let's do it. Let's do it together, everybody. Yeah, I'd love to. Wouldn't it be awesome? No salmon. No, there was nothing, Jordy. Nothing. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. It was, yeah. All right, let's go out. We're going to go out with, what was I going to go? I had this song ready, but then I had something else in mind. All right, no, we're going to go out with this. You know why? Because this is like, I was going to go out with Reagan, right? Killer Mike, but this is so good, and this is so perfect for right now, right? This is Bernie Sanders' speech, his closing speech. Sorry, somebody just dropped another, hey Robin, thank you for dropping that in, but it reminded me of something. Thank you to all the volunteers that make this happen. Thank you, comment mods. Thank you, audience. Thank you, News Universe. Thank you to everybody working together. Because this is how we do what they say we can't do. The dino-thinking, knuckle-dragging establishment politicians that go, you just can't do that, it's not possible. Their brains have atrophied. They don't understand what is possible. They don't even understand how to use the internet. They lost the election because they failed to grasp the internet, in truth. And they lied their ass off. But really it was the internet that killed it for the establishment. They don't understand what we are capable as a species. They have no fucking idea. We are showing them every day. Okay? Keep doing that. This is Bernie's speech, end of the debate. And he says that. He says, we can do all of these things. Moonshots, right? Going to the moon was a fucking moonshot. That's where the term came from. But D-Day was a moonshot. Starting America was a moonshot. We've done so many. The only people that don't think we can't do it, or don't think we can, I'm sorry, the only people that say we can't do it is establishment, because they don't want us to. So, keep proving them wrong. We're winning. We're winning. We're winning. Happy Sunday. This is go out with some inspiration. Yet another piece of historic moments from Bernie Sanders. Feel the burn, everybody.
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, the son of an immigrant who came to this country from Poland at the age of 17 without a nickel in his pocket, never made a whole lot of money, but was a very proud American because this country gave him and my mom the opportunity to send their kids to college. I believe that this country has enormous potential if we have the guts to take on the big money interests who dominate our economic and political life. And I disagree with Secretary Clinton in the belief that you can get money from Wall Street, that you can get money for a super PAC from powerful special interests, and then at the end of the day, do what has to be done for the working families of this country. I just don't accept that. What I believe is that this country, if we stand together and not let the Trumps of the world divide us up, can guarantee health care to all people as a right, can have paid family and medical leave, can make public colleges and universities tuition-free, can lead the world in transforming our energy system and combating climate change, can break up the large financial institutions, can demand that the wealthiest people in this country start paying their fair share of taxes. And we can do that when millions of people stand up, fight back, and create a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%. That is what the political revolution is about. That is what this campaign is about. And with your help, we're going to win here in New York. Thank you. Thank you. Secretary Clinton. huge